Welcome to the Guthrie America podcast. We sit down with amazing people who do life in our community because we believe every story should be told. I'm your host, Hetty Coleman. Today I'm sitting down with Jonatan Miles. And before we jump into this conversation with Jonatan, will you please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast? It would mean the world to me. And when you subscribe, make sure that you leave a review and go ahead and catch us on Instagram and definitely Facebook if you are on those platforms. So you can continue to catch the stories that we continue to tell from those that we're having conversations with here on the Guthrie America podcast. We are on a mission to have every story told in Guthrie America. Hey, shout out to our sponsor, Trilogy. Thank you, Trilogy, for helping us fulfill the mission of having every story told of those who are doing life in Guthrie America and who are from here. Let's go on and get into this conversation, man. Jonatan, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here. I had to get you. You know, we rescheduled and scheduled about 10 times. So the goal is just to get you on here, though. I was thinking about this. Where did we first meet?
I believe it was actually at one of the football games.
Okay.
At Guthrie, where we officially met.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly what year that was.
Yeah. It's been a good little while now.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. I was like, man, where did I first, when you start thinking about sitting down with somebody to have these conversations, this thought always comes like, where did I first meet Jonatan?
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember. But at that time, I think you were interning or at First Baptist in Edmond.
Yeah.
Right?
I was still working full time at Jasco Products and doing my intern at First Baptist. So
got you. And had you just graduated from college at that time?
I hadn't.
Okay.
I actually finished up at Langston in 2016, and really, at that time I was just still fighting that call, running from it actually. So I was just really working a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Now, when you say that call, that is a call into ministry,
right?
Just for those of you all who are listening. He's talking about call into ministry, not that call from some girl or something. Yeah, from a job or something. But you was running from it, huh?
Yeah, definitely was running from it. But I just had to surrender. I wasn't at ease. I wasn't at ease with working a 9 to 5. Yet I was, building relationships and leading Bible studies there at Jasco facilities and things of that nature. I just felt like there was more that the Lord was calling me to do. Yeah.
Well, you were at a good place thinking about ministry, being at Jasco, because the Trice family are all in.
Oh yeah, they're solid, man, and it was a privilege, just to really be up under their leadership, and just they're sold out guys, humble. Both of them are humble.
Yeah.
Jason and Cameron is both humble guys, and they poured out into me the little time that I was there at Jasco. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
What was something working at Jasco? It's a good size company. What was something that you learned from there that you walked away with? Maybe it's not even ministry related, but maybe business or life lesson.
Man, I would say there were so many principles that I've learned. So I actually started off in the distribution center as a truck unloader, and then from there I actually had the privilege to transition into the office. Doing IT work in the call center.
Mm-hmm.
So with me being an individual from inner city Dallas, it just really showed me that, what you put into it is really what you get out. I put in, hard work, unloading trucks, and broke records and about how many, boxes and stuff like that I could unload per container. And from there, Jason and Cameron, a lot of other leaderships, they recognize me based on my hard work. And that's my encouragement for anybody that's listening to this podcast. If you're a hard worker, you will get noticed.
Yeah.
And I believe, I believe that goes a long way,
For sure.
your work ethic. So
that's good, man. So you're saying that because of your willingness to come in and just work really hard, that allowed for you to move up.
Yeah.
In that though, too, you definitely have the hard work. Not just from what I know of you, very gentle guy, soft spoken, but come with great truth.
Yeah.
Right. So it was that combination of definitely putting in the hard work, but just learning how to treat people too as well. Right. In that process.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was pretty much open to everybody, encouraging. At that time I was kind of early in my faith. So I would do a daily devotional, and I made a commitment to myself, whatever I was learning in that devotion, at least teach it to one person a day. Mm-hmm. And so that was really my motto. And of course, if I'm teaching something, I have to live it out. So that was another thing. That was like, man, who is this guy? You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I was learning, early on in my faith carried on to how I live my life, so, and with that being said, that also played a huge role in my work ethic. I didn't work for just a paycheck. I was working unto the Lord. So,
yeah. So it wasn't even so much about, I came to this great company and I wanted to work hard to move up.
Right.
It's just a principle that you live by in general. Like if I'm at some place and I'm working, I'm going to work hard because as far as my faith goes, that's just the principles that we should live by because we want to do it for Him.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. When I say for Him, for the Lord.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so now I'm listening to your story up to this point. Hard worker, loving people, understanding some principles that you learned because you started digging into the Bible because of some type of life change that has happened in your life.
Yeah.
Up to this point. Had it always been like that? So let's go here first. Tell me how your friends and family would describe the 8 to 11-year-old Jonatan. Like, what was that like?
Oh man. Rebellious, hard-headed, wasn't soft-spoken at the time. Okay. I was really, I voiced my opinion, always wanted the last word, very argumentative, still love sports and things of that nature, but I was just rebellious, go against the grain. That's how they would describe me. Always willing to go against the grain.
What was you argue? Like, were you one of those people who, because I think some of my friends, they just want to argue regardless of what it is. And I think they just like that banner of going back and forth or whatever. And I think they know that it gets underneath people's skin. Were you that kind of person, or did you I just knew I was right? I just had this feeling I was always right.
Well, when you look back at it, I wouldn't say that I was the type of person just wanted to irritate people. But now that I'm older and looking back, I think that's who I was. I was definitely that person that just wanted to get under your skin and aggravate people. So, but I thought I was right. Like you can come with principles and proof of, hey, this is what it is, but in my mind I was right, so
yeah. Do you have a story of like a time where it's like it got really bad?
Oh yeah, I mean I have several stories actually. I mean all the way from elementary up to junior high, and kind of tapered off a little bit in high school because I was really more so focusing on sports.
Yeah.
But all the way through elementary and up to junior high, I mean, it was always something. I was always in the midst of something.
It's some kind of craziness.
Yeah.
Now, so I was asking particularly at that moment about 8-year-old to 11-year-old, but you mentioned middle school.
Yeah.
So middle school was rough too. Like, were you playing sports at that time? Like, what was it like? Because you were in Texas.
Yeah.
And so was it big? It's bigger than Guthrie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Oak Cliff, and
Cliff. Wait a second. So just let people know, kind of, for those of us in Guthrie America who may have never been out of Guthrie.
Yeah.
Just give a little bit of a feel with Oak Cliff. Like when people talk about Oak Cliff, because back in the day, I don't know what it's like now.
Right.
But when I was growing up, like you say you was from Oak Cliff, you automatically knew,
Yeah. Man, it's a little bit of everything. All in one location. You have high gang violence, have heavy drugs within the communities. You got people that, want to be drug dealers. You got people that want to be rappers. For instance, our parents are probably still, think that they can rap, you know what I mean? That's the type of environment that you have in Oak Cliff, You have young ladies that's heavy into prostitution, things of that nature. That's Oak Cliff, and it was a privilege to play organized sports at an early age to actually get out of that environment.
So it was because of the organized sports that you played that kind of helped you maybe keep a focus on getting out of there, or would you say that you wanted to get out of there and you found a way to get out of there?
I wanted to get out, and I found the way to get out.
Got you.
Yeah.
Because I want people to really get a feel for this side of Oak Cliff that I understand or that I kind of see.
Yeah.
Of when you say trying to get out of there is because the way Oak Cliff was culturally or designed or whatever, however you want to say it.
Yeah. Like
we're talking drugs and prostitutes.
Yeah.
A very rough life.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's more so that I'm out of that environment, it's more so of a mindset.
Gotcha.
Most of the individuals in Oak Cliff, they think that that's all they have is there in their community, which is drugs, gang related. And, for a black guy like me, we're beefing with the guys that live straight down the street from us, and it's just foolishness. And you can't live your life like that day in, day out, so I definitely wanted to get out of that environment. I've seen my older cousins involved in selling drugs and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I can't live my life like this, so.
What made you have that mindset of like, this isn't it? Because when it's all around you and you was it because of parents, an uncle, a cousin, friends, they kind of help you see like, bro, this is not it. TV, like what is it the thing that, so for me, I lived in Guthrie,
right? But
Guthrie had the opportunity to get into some real mess if you wanted to get into some mess. You had to look for it a little bit more than maybe in an Oak Cliff where it's like, okay, it's right outside my front door.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to kind of be in the mix, and I shouldn't say like it was a real opportunity, but to get in a little bit of trouble myself.
Yeah.
But because of the way that my mom and my grandparents lived their life, my mindset was always like, okay, I know this isn't the thing, even though for some reason something keeps pulling me to be wild and be in the mix of this mess. I know that is the word where I need to go. Right. You know what I'm saying? By being able to see somebody. And you're probably that person for people now.
Yeah. I would have to say, man, to be honest, probably a series of coaches that I had playing organized sports. Even though we were in Oak Cliff, most of them had, stable jobs. They took care of their families. Then once they left their jobs, they're going to, coach us in organized sports. So I seen that with them, the structure, the discipline, the integrity that they had.
Gotcha.
And I seen that within the life that they live. I was like, man, okay, everybody isn't bad. Everybody isn't formed into the mold of our culture. So if there's hope for them, there has to be hope for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that looked like for me at that time, but I just stuck with organized sports. That's all I knew.
Gotcha. That's good. Now, thinking about you coming out of middle school, now going into high school, still playing sports.
Yeah.
You get ready to graduate. What was that like for you?
Man, it was really a changing event for me because going up into high school, I was really dedicated for football. My goal was to go to the Naval Academy and play for the Navy. Unfortunately, my senior year, I wound up having my first son my senior year of high school. So everything changed. I didn't know if I was going to go to college then because I know I had a responsibility to take care of. So really the football dreams, everything was really out the window because I had a responsibility to take care of. And me being a single parent, growing up in a single parent household where my dad wasn't there, I always told myself once I have kids, I'm gonna be there for them. So I had to feel that responsibility, and so that's what I did. I really focused on, communicating with my son, mom, and figuring out what our next step would be together. So that's how we landed up here at Langston.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait a second. So did you was the child born before you got out of high school, or had you graduated and y'all had the baby, like your son was in summer or fall?
He was born my senior year of high school. So I graduated in May of 2008. He was born in October 2007.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
So you literally had him your senior year, and you're trying to go to school in high school and care for a baby and figure that out. What's next steps after graduating?
Right.
Then you all end up coming to Langston.
Yeah.
Okay.
All this was during football season, so I mean, it was tough, juggling a full-time student, full-time athlete while I'm actually a kid myself, you know what I mean? So it was really challenging.
Man, so for you having to grow up pretty fast at that moment.
Yeah.
Like now I gotta hold it down. What was your friends like? How were they interacting? Were you one of the first to have a child while you were still in high school?
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely one of the first ones. But as far as my sphere of influence, I was definitely one of the first ones to have a kid in high school. But just like I said, the environment, that's the norm for teenagers to have kids.
Yeah.
Because there's no guidance. I would say 90% of the kids grow up in Oak Cliff is to a single parent household. That's the statistics. But sad to say, some people don't have that drive to persevere.
Yeah.
So.
Man, so yeah, because in Guthrie, like I can't remember who it was, but when they were pregnant in high school, it was kind of, because it was so taboo, they're like, what? Somebody's pregnant in high school, getting ready to have a baby? That's crazy. And so then you have these, and then I feel like then it became more common. Like that happened, as far as what I remember, that happened in another person. But then the babies become part of, like, I remember my friends who had babies in high school, or especially when we were young, baby hanging out with us while we kicking it in bar.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Everybody starts taking care of the baby, and so there was a time when one of the kids, so there was a glass table, we're kicking it, having a good time, but still having enough awareness that there's a baby present and take care of that baby. But I remember I looked down through the glass table and the baby had pooped and it's poop on the floor, and it was like, this baby poop, like I was, now that I think about it, I'm sure she was embarrassed and I shouldn't have done it that way. Yeah. And I don't think I was even trying to be mean, but it was just kind of crazy because we partying, kicking it. Hey man, the baby has pooped on the floor kind of thing. And so it was just crazy. But man, we all kind of had a sense, like I said, an awareness to care for that baby and come alongside our friend who had a baby. Like one of my son's friend has a baby and he's in high school. And it's cool to see my son, Zell, and his friend hanging out, but they talk about the baby and, the baby come over to the house. And I'm like, man, it can all work out.
Oh, yeah,
I guess
definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
Definitely can. Yeah.
And for you, you get ready to graduate, y'all come to Langston.
Yeah.
Now, is this your first time ever coming to Guthrie?
My first time. Yeah. Never. I had never even really heard of Langston. Probably to a few months of me filling out my admission letter and stuff like that. They accepted it, and it was like late in the summer because I'm really trying to figure things out. I wanted to go to the Navy. I want to go to Navy Academy, all that. I had my plans figured out, and then I was thrown for a loop. You know what I mean? So last minute was, all right, we're going to Langston. So that was probably mid-June or early July.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So you do that, you come to Langston. Langston's way smaller than Guthrie.
yeah.
Like, did you even did y'all just make a beeline to Langston? Do you remember the first time you had to come into Guthrie for something to where it's like, oh, okay, this is probably where I'm gonna come and get Walmart and all that stuff?
Yeah. So actually, soon as we exit 157, we stopped at the Brahms here in Guthrie, and that was totally different from me because growing up in Dallas, it's predominantly blacks.
Got you.
But we walk into Brahms, it's predominantly white. I mean, and at that time, I can remember it like it was yesterday. The whole Brahms just stopped and looked at us.
At least it felt that way, right?
Right.
And you know what? I think, was it more so because, I'm about to live in this community now? Because you probably have stopped somewhere else and it's been, or had you never been in a place that you was like, I'm going to look around? Because I always tell my white friends, when black people walk into a place, we automatically look for another black person.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of like, let me just see if there's somebody that looks like, and I don't know, it's just not like, it's not like I'm scared or anything like that, but it's just natural. So you looking around, and you probably had never had very many moments to where you looked around and you the only brother.
Yeah, up to that point, I didn't know anything outside of Dallas city limits up to that point. And, my first stop was here at Brahms, and it's predominantly white. I'm like, man, what's going on? What I signed up for?
Yeah, but then you go to Langston, you like, oh, I'm back in my environment. Is the sense of like everybody looks like me to a certain degree out in Langston.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Which is kind of crazy. You can go from like now you can just bounce back and forth between the two. The two spectrums or whatever, to where you can be in an all black environment and then drive a few minutes later and might be the only black person in a particular area. So, so you get to Langston, start living life.
Yeah.
Tell me about, when did you actually move to Guthrie though?
So, me and my kid's mom were still, we attended Langston together. So, me and her moved to Guthrie in 2010. We was living over there in the Smurf houses.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
The Guthrie Housing Authority. Yeah. So we lived there on 1415 East Oklahoma. And that's when I really moved to Guthrie. And at that time, my boys getting a little older and things of that nature, they got involved in sports and, start coaching, things of that nature. So,
do you remember the first person that you maybe had like a real friendship with or relationship with that was from Guthrie?
Yeah, I mean, it started really the good friendship that I still have to this day through coaching, Michael Gaston.
Okay.
Several other guys, just. Robbie Rainwater. I mean, we coached from first grade all the way up to sixth grade,
Oh, wow.
with these kids and just built a phenomenal relationship with these guys. Both of them are solid.
Yeah.
Also, Zach Clymer, all those guys. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So as your kids get involved in sports, you starting to get familiar with Guthrie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what were some things that you started recognizing about the culture that you was like, oh, okay, I can kind of dig this?
So, growing up inner city, there's a false stigma in the inner city. It's like, oh, you're forced to be in the inner city. You see how this is by design, and it's no way out of it and all this, but Langston was my gateway out of the inner city. And once I got outside of the inner city, I seen that, man, there's opportunities everywhere, and that stigma that was in the hood was false, of course, what they would say that, oh, it's a white man's world and you just got to bow down to it. Well, now all of my friends here in Guthrie are predominantly white, and things of that nature. So it was a false view, of what we're taught in the hood, So,
yeah. So in building those relationships, now you have this. Your experience in life has been kind of twofold. Like, I have this culture that I grew up in that's completely different into the place that I now live and do life.
Right.
But in both of them, you can find some good. Right. You've taken some stuff out of Oak Cliff and brought it into Guthrie America and doing life that way. What are some things culturally like you did in Oak Cliff, but now you like, I try to find that in Guthrie, or I've brought this to Guthrie. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, just really, so with Oak Cliff being, heavy involved in sports and just new adventures and things of that nature, new economies, econominations and stuff like that. I try to bring that here to, Guthrie, like, hey, just because it's historical, what can we do different? What can we do to bring more people here to Guthrie? It don't have to be the same old mundane things, So, just thinking outside the box.
Got you.
So
you brought to some of that big city life. Like, no, you don't have to just play football on Friday nights. We can do something.
Right. Yeah.
Even though everybody loves Friday nights. Like, even in Dallas, Friday nights is a big deal for high school football and stuff like that. But there's just more to it. Yeah. And because you've experienced that, that. So you're like, even though I love Guthrie, right, I know that there's other things that you can add to this.
Yeah.
And that's some of the reasons too. Like, I encourage young people, as much as I want to see young people come back to Guthrie that are from here, I still want them to leave so they can bring back some of those experiences that happen when you don't live in a smaller community.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about football and raising your kids here, what are some other activities? Like, what is something that a place in Guthrie that you regularly visit or go to?
The YMCA for sure. Me and the boys, they would do workouts there. I do workouts there. I just love the physical aspect of it. People that studies show that most people that has the discipline to, have some type of physical regimen and stuff like that, those are the most well-rounded, successful individuals. So that's just somewhere I like to network or, brush shoulder with individuals in that atmosphere. So
that's good. Now I gotta ask, because there's new gyms popping up.
Okay.
We got Anytime Fitness, but it's been around for a little bit.
Right.
Now we got this new gym over here off of what is that? Ash? No, is that Ash? Yeah, Ash Street, Ash in Oklahoma.
Okay, haven't.
Yeah, you didn't know anything about the new gym? Okay, because I'm gonna be keeping my eye on you. Don't be trying to lead the why. Okay, that's all I want to say. Did somebody say there's supposed to be a Planet Fitness coming too?
Really?
Yeah, out there by Walgreens.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm like, Guthrie may be growing little by little, but we don't need 10 gyms.
Yeah, I actually thought about opening up a gym before I actually went into full-time ministry.
Okay.
That was actually a plan that I had in process to actually open up my own physical fitness geared towards athletes and things of that nature. So, but the Lord opened up a position at First Baptist, and I came on full-time, so I didn't get to see that happen.
You didn't get to The Lord was saying, Jonathan, there's enough gyms in Guthrie America. There's enough gyms in Guthrie America. Yeah, so there's a few more gyms. Okay, so the YMCA, great choice. I love our YMCA. I also go there as well. So shout out to the Guthrie YMCA. So we have a few parades in town.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Guthrie. 89ers, homecoming, and MLK. We have the MLK parade. So when you go to a parade, do you have a spot that you go to and stand every time? What's your spot? What's your parade spot?
I would have to say right there in front of the Y.
You go to the place you're most familiar with.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite parade, or did you attend parades when you were growing up? And if so, they were probably gigantic if you did, but
Yeah.
was parades a thing, or was that something different about Guthrie that you weren't quite used to?
We had a few parades. We had a MLK parade, which had to be policed very highly due to the environment, because you got different, different hoods coming just, to celebrate MLK, and it can just be very chaotic. Guthrie has brought a different experience to parades. You get to enjoy it, you don't have to worry about craziness happening. Well, at least the last one, there was some craziness going on at one of the parades here. So,
you talking about the person got stabbed? Or, yes, that was crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, those people were from the city; they weren't from Guthrie.
Right. So,
don't be coming down here acting crazy. OKC, come on now. Yeah. But it's a very family friendly environment.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I've been learning is a lot of people have now been telling me, like, when they move somewhere else and then they come back, they have realized, like, the homecoming for parades is really a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like, people don't do homecomings like we do them here.
No, I mean, for instance, my boys just recently moved to Choctaw, and they're not having homecoming parade and stuff like that. I mean, Guthrie does it big. We shut down early, let the kids get out, have a parade. I mean, everything. So they're not doing none of that, so.
Are your boys like, what's up with this?
I mean, they haven't said anything yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll get to discuss that later today.
What is it like being a dad for you?
Man, it keeps me going, man. It's a privilege. That's what I would say. But had I not been a dad, ain't no telling where I'd be. Growing up in inner city, all I really knew was football and the craziness. But bringing a kid into this world really made me to start looking at things from a different perspective. So, being a dad, I mean, it means everything. I have a huge responsibility, and just to pour out into them,
Yeah. What is the Jonatan challenge in being a dad? Like, what's the thing that challenges you the most, that you really try to work hard to do this, whatever it may be? What is that?
I would say really loving them, even though I know they're gonna be knuckleheads. Like that's difficult. Like, they're gonna go against the grain. They're gonna step outside of your expectations. And it's like, all I want you to do is listen. And they push my buttons.
Yeah, for sure. Because you want them to get it. But I was talking to somebody one day about their son was getting ready to get their driver's license, and he was like, "There's no way in the world my son is going to get on the highway and drive." Like, he just could not. Yeah, he could not imagine his son driving on the highway. And he and I were talking, and then he said, "But my wife was like, you did it. Like, you were once his age, and you had to get on the highway at some point and drive." And I think sometimes for me as a dad, I always got to reflect back, like, I was similar. I was the same way. People were giving me all sorts of wisdom and knowledge and nuggets.
Oh yeah.
And I would listen. It wasn't until later in life that I was like, all right, let me go back to that thing. What did my grandpa say? What did my dad say?
Yeah.
that is going to get me through this. So that's cool, man. I'm glad your boys are. I know they're a big part of your life, and it's cool to see how you invest in them. But not just your boys, but other boys as well, and how you've taken in other family and things like that. And that's really cool here to have somebody like you in Guthrie America. Recently, you made a big choice.
Yeah.
How you feeling? Tell the world.
Yeah. So here recently, probably actually about a month ago, I got engaged to a beautiful young lady by the name of Keisha Thompson. And I mean, it's, I don't even deserve it, to be honest. it's a privilege, to pray for a particular person or pray for a particular thing, and then it all falls into right in front of you. You know what I mean? So I'm speechless, about the whole situation. No,
I get it. Sweet lady, man. What are you most looking forward to as far as being a husband?
To really truly love like Christ loved. I think that's a really huge responsibility when it comes to biblical marriage, is to love, sacrificially as Christ loved us. When you think about that aspect, right? Like I say, I grew up inner city Dallas. I didn't even think about, turning and giving my life to the Lord. It was a complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But even in the midst of my rebellions, in the midst of me pursuing worldly desires, Christ, he loved me. He laid down his life for me. And I just think of that from a marriage, and I look forward to doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Man, so talk about being a father, about to be a husband. One of the things that's important in that is being able to take care of yourself. Now, I know that you are an avid in working out. You mentioned as the YMCA being your place. What is the one thing what's the one exercise that Jonatan would do if there was no other exercise? You would say, I need to do this exercise every day to keep myself going.
Y'all gonna probably think I'm crazy, but I would have to say either some type of full body workout, movement, and the burpee. If I can't get to the gym, I can drop down and do burpees at the house. And it's full body. It'll get the heart rate going, things of that nature. So, and if I can't do that, then I'll probably just go outside and run.
Okay. Yeah. Burpees or run, ladies and gentlemen. If you not hit the gym, burpees and run, because both of those don't require neither one of those require the gym.
Right.
Now, you talked about my son. You was out at the temple last night.
Yeah.
You were running. Were y'all running or walking around the temple?
A little bit of both.
Yeah. Walk, run is always good. Walk, run. You saw my son jump roping.
Yeah.
Because our house is right across the street from the temple. What about jump roping? Is that a good exercise? Like, what are you at with jump roping?
Oh, yeah. I definitely, jump roping is really good. Something about the bouncing, it helps create new brain endorphins and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good workout. Highly recommend it. Even if you don't have a jump rope, pretend as you have a jump rope.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
A lot of good benefits in jump roping.
Well, that's good, man. Hey, so how do you describe Guthrie America to people? So if somebody was like, what is Guthrie America? How do you describe it?
Man, I would have to say very family. It's a family. That's it. And you get to know people and you do life with them. That's Guthrie America.
I love it. What does Choose Guthrie mean to you?
I would have to say, man, just Choose Guthrie means to really be who you are and bring that into the community, impact the community and encourage those that are coming up in the community. And that's Choose Guthrie. You see yourself in this position, but what can I do to make it better?
Yeah.
And everybody has that opportunity. So
I love that. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonatan Miles. Let's give it up for Jonatan. Man, thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing a little bit of your story. Yeah. I know we can't capture everything, but just trying to get as much a little bit of it as we can, man. And so hopefully we may just have to have you come back and we talk more so we can get an update on this marriage life.
Yeah,
in Guthrie America. And so y'all staying in Guthrie?
Yeah. We'll be here for now,
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to let good people go, okay? If you listening to this, make sure you reach out to Jonathan and tell him, get him a house or something, whatever he needs, new cars, job, whatever. Let's make it happen. Let's keep good people around. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to have every story told of the people who do life in Guthrie America and who are from here. Will yours be next?